Valemont was a quiet town, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, but some secrets were buried so deep that even the closest neighbors could never imagine. On a rainy Thursday evening, the peaceful silence was shattered by a piercing scream echoing from the old Marston mansion. Detective Laura Evans had just returned from a long case when she received the call. The Marston family, known for wealth and influence, had discovered the lifeless body of Jonathan Marston, the youngest son, sprawled across his study floor. His eyes were wide open in terror, and a single note lay next to his hand: "The truth always finds you." As Laura stepped into the mansion, the air was thick with fear. The grand chandelier swayed slightly from the storm outside, casting dancing shadows across the walls. The family members were gathered in the parlor, faces pale, eyes darting nervously. The butler, a stoic man named Henry, whispered that no one had seen anything unusual. Laura observed the scene carefully. The room showed no signs of struggle, but the note indicated something far more sinister. Someone inside that house knew something, or perhaps someone had orchestrated the perfect murder. And Laura knew one thing: in Valemont, no one could be trusted. The next morning, Laura returned with her assistant, Mark, to begin her investigation. She started with the note. The handwriting was unusual, almost elegant, but with small jagged edges, as if written by someone anxious or angry. She questioned the family one by one. Martha Marston, the mother, trembled and revealed that Jonathan had recently been obsessed with uncovering hidden truths about the family business. Thomas Marston, the eldest brother, was defensive and irritable, constantly deflecting questions. Emily, the quiet sister, stared at the floor, refusing to speak. Then, Laura discovered something unexpected: a hidden compartment in Jonathan's study desk. Inside were letters, cryptic and threatening, warning him to stop digging into the family's financial dealings. One letter, stained with what looked like blood, had a single line underlined: "Your curiosity will cost you everything." Laura realized this was more than a simple murder. It was the consequence of long-buried secrets. Someone wanted Jonathan silenced, and they were careful. Too careful. She left the mansion for the evening, but every shadow on the streets of Valemont seemed to whisper a warning. The killer was still out there, watching, waiting. That night, Laura returned to her apartment, rain dripping from her coat. She reviewed her notes and photographs of the crime scene. Something didn't add up. There were no fingerprints, no forced entry. This was professional. Suddenly, she heard a soft knock on her door. Her heart raced. Standing there was a man she had never seen before, wearing a hooded coat, eyes sharp and calculating. "You're digging where you shouldn't, Detective Evans," he said, voice low, almost a growl. "Stop, or you'll be next." Laura's instincts kicked in. She locked the door and stepped back cautiously. "Who are you? What do you want?" The man disappeared into the fog outside without another word. All that remained was a scrap of paper in his hand, left on her doorstep, a photograph of Jonathan Marston, smiling at what seemed to be a business meeting, and scribbled in red ink, "Trust no one." Laura's mind raced. The murder was bigger than a family dispute. It was a dangerous network of deception. Someone was orchestrating events from the shadows, and Laura was now on their radar. Mark called, worried. Laura instructed him to stay alert. The sense of dread was thick. Valemont's quiet streets suddenly felt like a hunting ground, and the hunter was someone invisible, patient, and ruthless. Laura returned to the Marston mansion the next day. She needed answers, and there were still people to question. Henry, the butler, seemed unusually nervous this time, avoiding eye contact. Laura sensed he knew more than he let on. A breakthrough came when she examined Jonathan's computer. Hidden in encrypted folders were banking statements, illegal transactions, and contracts signed under false names. Jonathan had discovered his family was laundering money through shell companies. Suddenly, a chilling thought struck Laura. What if the killer was one of the family members? Each of them had a motive: power, money, or reputation. She confronted Thomas privately. He denied everything, but his shaky hands betrayed him. Emily remained silent, her eyes full of secrets. And Martha, the mother, avoided direct answers, only muttering about protecting the family name. Laura realized the crime was not just about silencing Jonathan. It was about controlling the narrative, protecting a dark legacy. And she knew someone in that house was willing to kill again to keep it hidden. As the investigation deepened, Laura received an anonymous tip. The voice on the line claimed to know who the killer was. Hesitant but desperate, she arranged a secret meeting in an abandoned warehouse by the docks. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was Emily Marston. Her hands were trembling. "I know who did it," she whispered. "But you have to promise me protection. They'll come after me too." Laura nodded, motioning her to sit. Emily revealed shocking details. Thomas had discovered Jonathan's investigation and felt threatened. But there was another player, an outside consultant hired by the family business to cover up scandals. "This isn't just murder, it's manipulation," Emily said. "They are cleaning up the family name, and anyone in their way is disposable." Laura knew she had to act fast. The pieces were finally coming together. But the closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous it became. Whoever orchestrated Jonathan's death was clever, calculating, and ruthless. That night, Laura trailed Thomas to an old abandoned warehouse outside Valemont. Mist hung low over the streets. Her flashlight cut through the fog. Inside, she found documents, ledgers, and photographs exposing the family's corruption. Thomas appeared from the shadows. "I should have finished the job," he hissed, holding a gun. Laura's heart raced. "It's over, Thomas. The law will decide your fate." He lunged. Laura ducked and tackled him, narrowly avoiding the shot. The gun skidded across the floor. Mark arrived just in time to restrain Thomas. As they secured the scene, Laura discovered another layer of deception. The external consultant had already fled, carrying vital evidence. Whoever this was, they were still out there. Free, dangerous, and determined to cover their tracks. Laura realized the investigation was far from over. The chase had only begun. Days later, the investigation reached its climax. The consultant, identified as Victor Hale, was tracked to a remote cabin in the outskirts of Valemont. Laura and Mark led a small team, carefully approaching. Inside, they found documents, money, and video evidence linking the Marston family to illegal activities. Victor confessed. He had been hired to protect the family, eliminate threats, and control the fallout from Jonathan's investigation. Thomas and Martha were arrested. Emily cooperated, becoming a key witness in court. The Marston legacy would never be the same, but justice had been served. Laura stood outside the courthouse as the rain fell softly. Valemont had returned to quiet, but the shadows lingered, a reminder that secrets, once buried, always have a way of resurfacing. Laura knew one thing: in the world of crime, vigilance is eternal. And for Valemont, peace would be fragile, and the detectives' watch unending.